and welcome to our kids service. We're so excited for you to see everything that we have for you. But before we do that, we need you to stand up, make some room, because we're gonna jump into some worship.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. And you have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. And you have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. And you have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. And you have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
Happy Easter, everyone. Wow, what a great day to be together. Easter is my favorite day of the year. Why? Because at Easter, we're celebrating that Jesus is alive. God sent Jesus to be our Savior. Jesus died and rose again, and if we put our trust in Jesus, we can have true peace with God. What an amazing day to celebrate. Let's celebrate with a dance party. Everyone stand up, make a little room, and show off your best dance moves. Are you ready? Go! Awesome dance moves, everybody. Let's take a seat again so we can get into today's message. But before we get into our story today, let's start with our big answer. And what is the big answer? It's the answer to the big question. This is the question you should get from that important adult in your life, and that is, what did you learn in kids' church today? Our big answer for today is Jesus is alive. And our memory verse for this series comes from the book of John. And it says, God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son. Anyone who believes in him will not die, but will have eternal life. John 3:16. Today, we'll be looking at the story of Easter from the book of Luke, which is the third book in the New Testament. First, though, let's set the scene by looking back at God's big story as a whole. We read in Genesis at the beginning that God created everything. When people turned away from God, the world was broken. Still, God had a good plan to make things right. God chose one family, the Israelites, and promised to bless the whole world through them. Many years later, God fulfilled that promise by sending Jesus, his own Son. Jesus traveled around teaching and healing people. He showed perfectly what it means to love God and love others. But not everyone chose to follow Jesus. The religious leaders at the time were upset because they didn't believe that Jesus is God's Son. When Jesus entered Jerusalem for the Passover festival, the crowds cheered for him. But at the same time, the religious leaders made a plan to get rid of him. Behind the scenes, one of Jesus' own friends, Judas, made a deal with the religious leaders to betray Jesus. Jesus told his friends to prepare the Passover meal, and then he shared the special meal with them. Jesus offered them wine, and he broke bread and gave it to them. This was a way that Jesus showed how he would give up his life for us. After this meal, Jesus and his friends went up to the Mount of Olives where Jesus prayed, Father, if you are willing, take this cup of suffering away from me, but do what you want, not what I want. As Jesus finished praying, a group of religious leaders and guards arrived, led by Judas. Jesus allowed himself to be arrested. Jesus' followers panicked and they ran away. Jesus was given a fake trial, and the religious leaders then sent him to Pilate, the Roman governor. Pilate found no basis for any of the charges against Jesus, but the crowd cried out for Jesus to be killed. Eventually, Pilate handed Jesus over to be taken away, even though Jesus had done nothing wrong. Soldiers nailed Jesus to a rough wooden cross, and then Jesus died. That evening, several of Jesus' followers took his body and laid it in a garden tomb, a cave cut into a rock. A giant stone was rolled to block the entrance. It seemed like the end. But remember the promises that God had made so long before to bless the whole world, to send a rescuer? God keeps every promise, which means this story was not finished. Jesus' friends hid, afraid that they might be arrested next. And some of the women who followed Jesus wanted to place spices on his body, which was a tradition at that time. But they couldn't do any work on the Sabbath day, so they waited. On Sunday morning, the women brought their supplies to the garden. When they arrived at the tomb, they saw that the stone had been rolled away. As the women entered the tomb, suddenly 2 brilliant angels stood before them. They said, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? Jesus is not here. He has risen. Remember how he told you he would rise? It was while he was still with you in Galilee. He said the Son of Man must be handed over to sinful people. He must be nailed to a cross. On the 3rd day, he will rise from the dead." The women raced back to where their friends were staying and told them what they had seen. Peter had to see for himself. He ran to the tomb and saw the linen strips, but no angels. He left, wondering what could have happened. Later that day, 2 of Jesus' followers reported that they had actually seen Jesus as they walked along the road to Damascus. The disciples were talking about all of this together when suddenly Jesus appeared right there in the room with them. He said, "May you have peace." Jesus' friends were shocked. Some of them thought he must be a ghost, but Jesus showed them the places on his hands and feet that were hurt by the nails. He wanted them to see that it was really him. Jesus asked them for something to eat, and they gave him some cooked fish. And then Jesus said, "This is what is written. The Messiah will suffer. He will rise from the dead on the 3rd day. His followers will preach in his name. They will tell others to turn away from their sins and be forgiven. People from every nation will hear it, beginning at Jerusalem. You have seen these things with your own eyes." More than 500 people saw Jesus after he was raised to life. Jesus actually appeared to his followers and proved to them that he was and is alive. That means everything God says is true, and that death is not the end. Can you imagine what it was like for Jesus' followers when he showed up right there in the room with them? I can understand why they weren't sure if he was real at first. But then Jesus showed them where he had been hurt and proved that he had come back to life. Everything had gone so wrong, and suddenly, everything was completely right. When you choose to believe in and follow Jesus, you make him the foundation of your life. You can have trust in him with everything. Every choice you have to make, every hard or confusing thing that happens, every relationship, every question. We know we can trust God no matter what. Jesus will be with you through every single moment and help you through the hard things too. Because of Jesus, we can trust that in the end, God will make everything right again. Just like our big answer says, Jesus is alive. And that, my friends, is the best news ever. Happy Easter, everyone.
It's time for Memory Verse Breakdown!
Hey kids, today we're going to break down this week's memory verse. Are you ready? Okay, here's this week's memory verse. Think you've got it? Try saying it out loud. All right, let's take some words away. You think you still got it? Try saying it out loud again. All right, let's bring those words back in and see how you did. Did you get it right? Awesome! Well, that's this week's memory verse breakdown. How'd you do?
Memory Verse Breakdown! Game time!
Who's excited to play a game? I know I am. Let me just explain the rules so everyone will know exactly how to play. You're about to see several Easter eggs on the screen. One of those eggs has a chocolate bunny inside. The eggs will then get shuffled up, but your challenge will be to keep your eye on the egg with that chocolate bunny. Oh yeah! Think you can do it? Great! Everybody hop to your feet. Here we go. Okay, shout out 1, 2, or 3 if you think you know which egg has the chocolate bunny. Great job, everyone! Hoo-ha! Let's try another one. This one will be a little faster. Whoa! That was fast! Did you keep track of the egg with the candy? If so, shout it out. 1, 2, or 3 if you think you know which Easter egg it is. Woo! Well done! Let's try another one. This time with 4 Easter eggs. That was definitely a little more challenging. Shout out the number if you think you know which egg, hoo-ha, it is. Nice job. Now let's try it again. But this time the eggs are gonna move a little faster. Okay, that was pretty tricky. Did you keep your eye on the egg? If so, shout it out. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Way to go! That was impressive. But what happens if we add in one more Easter egg? Wowzers! Does anybody know which egg has the chocolate bunny? Shout it out if you know it! Nice job! Ooh, can you keep your eye on the egg if they are going crazy fast? Oh my! I'm a little dizzy. Does anybody know where the chocolate bunny is? Wow! Anybody who could keep their eye on that one must really love chocolate bunnies. Happy Easter, everybody! Hoo-ha!
Thank you so much for being with us today. Before you leave, have that important adult in your life go to lifechurchgreenbay.com/kids, where you can grab our Kids Connect card. There you can discuss our big answer, memory verse, and even more. We love you so much. Have a great week.